Okay, today we are taking a look at unguaranteed tickets. Now, if you don't know, these are a particular type of ticket that are different from our normal tickets that guarantee a seat on the bus. And the reason that they're different is that the only way that someone can board with an unguaranteed ticket is if there's spare seats for them on the day. So if you don't know, on our tours, even if we sell out all 56, 57 seats on that tour, there's usually up to about 8 or 9 people that don't make the tour. There's more when the weather's cold and miserable, and there's more people missing, I should say. More people missing when the weather's really bad, and less people missing when the weather's really good. And we've been trying to deal with this issue for a while, and we thought, what if we could sell tickets? And so there's been a lot involved in changing the processes, the training, and also communicating as clearly as we can to customers about this ticket type, so they don't have any unfair expectations on what they are. So this slide deck is going to take you through what they are. Before I go on, what I will say is that they really do make a difference to the business. This is something we're quite proud of for a number of different reasons. One is that it really does our customers. It helps our customers out. And that's for people that desperately need a ticket. We'll talk about that in a moment. The second thing is it adds profitability to the business, and anytime the business is more profitable, it strengthens the team and strengthens the business. So that's a really important thing to do, because if we don't do that, then we all eventually lose our jobs. Now, the third reason is it's better for the environment to have seats that aren't empty. Instead of just taking a bus that has spare seats up, we're getting more people on a tour, which means less tours throughout the year. So let's have a chat about unguaranteed tickets. So as I said, they allow for what is an unguaranteed ticket? They allow passengers who missed out on getting a ticket a second chance to board. And those passengers might be, they have a group of friends attending, but they can't get a ticket because the tour was sold out. They might also be families that have bought for themselves, but not for a child, thinking the child would be free. And this does happen. People seem to not understand that children also need a seat on the bus, and by the time that they ask us, those tickets have sold out and they can't get a refund because it's too late, so they're stuck in a really difficult situation. The other one is for people that are leaving Melbourne soon, before the next tour, so they can't make any other tours. So these are all categories of customers that this ticket was designed for. Of course, you've got customers that do buy this ticket because it's generally a bit cheaper than other tickets as well. So there's some additional benefits. They increase the number of tipping customers on the bus. So tour guides that are taking tips, instead of having 52 customers, you might have 54 customers. So it doesn't make a huge difference, but it makes a bit of a financial difference to those tour guides. As I said, it adds profit to New to Melbourne and strengthens our business, which to me is really important. That's something that it's my responsibility to maintain that. And it's also nice to do something for the environment. And by making more efficient use of the seats, the process is better for the environment. Okay, so this is the ticketing page on Eventbrite. I'm just taking 2 screenshots. So this describes the unguaranteed tickets to customers. Unguaranteed tickets are only available once a tour sells out. They're designed for people that have friends going on a tour and that missed out on tickets, or those that are leaving Melbourne shortly and can't. So I'm just explaining the reasons there. As the name unguaranteed tickets unguaranteed indicates, the tickets can't guarantee you a seat on the bus. However, the refund is 100% guaranteed if there's not room. There's a 50 to 90% likelihood that seats will be available on the day and you'll be able to board on the day. The likelihood of being able to board is listed on each ticket type. Please see options on the buy ticket page. This option was created to help people that really need to get on a tour but missed out on tickets. Why do we have unguaranteed tickets? We have an average 3 to 5 people who don't show up on the day for a tour, and they don't message us to let us know that they can't make it. An unguaranteed tickets entitles you to one of these spare seats on the bus, or a 100% refund if there isn't space. As mentioned, there's a high likelihood, 60 to 90% chance that there will be room for you if you have an unguaranteed ticket. However, there's no guarantee this, so I'm just repeating that. You can also accept a refund if you cannot make it to the stop. So that's something that we're doing at the moment. So if they don't make it to the bus stop, either due to delays, or they slept in, or they've changed their mind, we're currently refunding them. In the future, we may not. It's just good to refer to event page for that. I mean, obviously ideally the tour operations manager should tell you if there's been a change in the ticketing. We suggest buying these tickets if, and this provides the reasons, as I mentioned before, you have friends in a group that really want to go with them, but the tour is sold out before you could get tickets. If you have a child, you need a ticket for and didn't buy a ticket for if you're leaving Melbourne shortly and cannot make the next tour group. So this says don't buy tickets for unguaranteed tickets for groups, because obviously if there's 2 people with unguaranteed tickets and only 1 spare seat, we have to refund that entire group, and it's going to be inconvenient for them. So the larger the group is, the less likely they are going to be able to board that bus. There's generally about a 90% chance that there will be at least 1 seat available on the bus. So if you're dealing with a double bus where there's 2 buses going to the same destination, there's about a 1 in 100 chance there won't be a seat available for at least 1 person. So we say couples can do it, but generally we want to limit it to just 1 person that's going with someone else or going by themselves. Okay, so boarding process. Please note, if you purchase an unguaranteed ticket, you need to arrive at the meeting point, let the tour guide know you have an unguaranteed ticket. Wait until everyone has boarded the bus. Ask the tour guide if there's a spare seat left over that you can take. If there's no room on the day, you will be given 100% refund. Please contact us via our Facebook page and we will process the refund. Note, there are 2 unguaranteed tickets, first release and second release. Those should say first priority and second priority. The Tom has been using this language, release, and when it should say first priority. So that gives you an indication that if you buy the first priority ticket, then that person will get priority, because one of the issues is if there's 2 people and only 1 seat, who gets a seat? And that's to do with the priority. And you should be looking at the priority when people are boarding, looking at their tickets. So that's it. Now there's one other thing, that is that we're thinking of providing maybe a 20% discount on a normal ticket. So now we've got unguaranteed tickets and normal tickets. If someone buys this ticket, goes to the stop and can't board, so that way they're not let down entirely, they might get a 10%, maybe 10% discount. $10 discount at 20%. So it means that their time isn't wasted entirely. And ideally, this is just for people that are in the CBD, that live in the CBD, and it's not an inconvenience for them if they can't board the bus. So this is the bus events planner that the Tom and the city manager relies on to schedule out and forecast and manage rosters and all sorts of things. I've taken 2 screenshots from 2 separate sides. They should be the same rows here, because there's quite a bit of space between these 2 screenshots. But what you can see here is a number of check-ins, and this is why we ask on that tour guide report form to provide the number of empty seats, because now we can actually look back and see how many seats were available and also compare that to the weather conditions, and we can figure out if we can increase the number of unguaranteed tickets or reduce the number of unguaranteed tickets. So there might be up to 7 seats available on that bus. And sometimes the ticket sales are high because we have transferred tickets and we invalidate those tickets. I think there's 3 transferred tickets. So in that case, there was 59 tickets sold, 3 that were transferred. There was 1 tour guide on board, so it should be 56 in total. Check-in difference. So I think there was a difference between the check-in count and the number of reported empty seats, although that looks about right. I'll have to check that. Check-in difference there. Okay, so there wasn't a number. Oh, okay, so it's between the driver and the tour guide. So we actually do get a number of empty seats recorded by the bus driver, and we've historically done this to determine if tour guides aren't reporting cash that's being collected. So we do have a cash payment, because a lot of people for some reason go to the bus stop even though they know it's sold out and see if they can pay in cash. And there's no real way to report this, so that's one thing we did in the past, is actually ask the drivers about the number of empty seats, and then we compare that to the check-in. So this is why the point is, this is why we're asking you how many empty seats were there on the bus. And one of the reasons we also do it is to determine if there was unguaranteed tickets that had boarded the bus, because if they didn't, this is the thing, normal tickets can't get a refund if it's after the tour date because they're past the refund period, but unguaranteed ticket holders can get a refund after the tour date because they may not have been able to board. But if the tour guide hasn't scanned them off, and oftentimes they will scan them off, and then they'll wait for the person to board the bus, and then say, oh, by the way, you can't board the bus because this person's here, but they'll be scanned off in the system, and we'll say, well, they boarded, so they don't get a refund. So this is a calculation that allows us, we just type in stuff in the yellow fields, and it calculates everything for us. So anyway, the point is, this data is what we've been looking at to determine how many unguaranteed tickets we release based on the weather, based on the type of tour, based on is it a double tour, a triple tour, and then also helps us with the refunds. And this is the bus events planner, which is the key operational spreadsheet that the tour operations manager uses to deal with tours. It's a bit of inside baseball for you, but I just wanted to show you where this data comes from, and why you're putting this sort of information, because you may be wondering, why am I putting empty seats in the bus tour guide report at the end of each day. So the boarding process, this is where it gets a bit tricky. As I said, there's a whole lot of things that we needed to figure out, least of which was training the tour guide. There was refunds and messaging. There was also, how do we display unguaranteed tickets when a tour is sold out? There's a whole bunch of things that we needed to deal with to make this happen. So the boarding process is one thing that we had to design a process around. And so you'll see that their ticket comes up as invalid. You then need to, so anytime you have an invalid ticket, you of course need to ask that person to stand aside and deal with that line of customers first that are behind them. Firstly, as a courtesy to everyone in the line. Secondly, because you don't want to be having arguments about invalid tickets in front of a whole bunch of customers. And there's a third reason. Yeah, I'll have to get back to that in a moment. I think it's to make better use of time. So if you're having a dispute with someone about why a ticket's invalid, then you want to get through that line as quickly as possible so you can leave on time, and you don't indulge in that conversation too much. You can say, well, we really need to leave now. Just message the New World Facebook page. Anyway, that's the process. The ticket's invalid. Ask them to stand aside. Once a line has been processed, ask them if they understand how the tickets work, because they may not. It's a complex process, and they may not understand that they may not. And of course, they may also play stupid. They may say, I didn't understand that. I'm really annoyed. I came here expecting a good day, blah, blah, blah. And then you just need to say, do you understand? So then when they can't board, you can say, well, you just told me a moment ago, you do understand how they work. If there's any confusion in the tickets, sort it out then so they know. And this is, of course, maybe a couple of minutes before you tell them a yes or no. So you haven't told them yes or no at this point. As I said, it may prevent problems if they cannot board. If you're sure there's going to be space, example, there's 7 people missing at 8:08 a.m. and you're leaving at 8:15 a.m., then you don't need to explain it so much because they're most likely going to be able to board. However, always expect that a group of 7 people could appear at the last second. Unlikely, but it could happen, and at that point you do need to have explained things properly to that customer so they can't turn around and say, I didn't know what was going on, even though they should have definitely read that ticket description as we provided here before they bought anything. And this is quite a detailed thing for a customer to read and understand. So, and a lot of people just say, forget it, I'll just buy it on another date. So someone that's bought that ticket has read through this, and if they have bought a ticket, they should have read through it. They shouldn't buy the ticket if they haven't read through it. But of course, they may tell you that they didn't understand it or it wasn't clear. So it's always good to have a good understanding of what's written here, so that that has clearly been there. And we tell them not to buy tickets, unguaranteed tickets, if they feel like it's if they don't understand it, or that if they don't understand English well. If they say to us, I don't understand this, well, they say, this sounds a bit weird, we say, just buy a normal ticket. Okay, so that's how we operate. Cash tickets receive last priority. So these people that want to pay in cash, they shouldn't be paying in cash. There's nowhere on the Facebook event page it says they can pay in cash. We only do that because they force it onto us. So we've accepted cash in the past, but they do receive last priority after unguaranteed tickets. Now, tour guide trainees, I think these days what we'll do, because we're still figuring out a bit of this process now, tour guide, I should say candidates, people that we're thinking about offering either a driving position to or a trainee program to. Usually what we've done is we've just given them what is effectively an unguaranteed ticket after the tour is sold out. But from now onwards, I think what we might do is actually give them a normal ticket that hasn't been established yet. Okay, so here's a very interesting ethical issue. what happens when, and this is unlikely to occur, by the way, because the bus usually arrives at 8:10, not at 8 a.m., and it's unlikely you're going to get through the entire line before 8:15. So the grace period is 15 minutes. So the bus, everyone has to be there. So the departure is listed as 8 a.m. The actual departure time is 8:15. Now, if everyone's there, for instance, at 8:10 or 8:12, and let's say there's 2 seats remaining and there's 3 unguaranteed tickets, what do you do? Well, obviously, one of those people can't board the bus because there's only 2 seats remaining. So you need to say to and you need to look at the tickets and say which of you has the highest priority. Priority 1 boards first, priority 2 boards second, priority 3 boards third. We generally don't want to sell 3 unguaranteed tickets. We're trying to sell 2 at the moment, and that really does make a difference to the profitability of the business. Even though we could sell more, we just don't want to we don't want our customers to be unhappy. So it's really balancing the probabilities. So at 8:10 a.m. you have 3 unguaranteed tickets, the third priority ticket holder, and you need to make a mental note of that customer, of which priority they have when they show you their ticket. You need to say to them they can't board, there's only 2 seats remaining. And you need to be careful to count those empty seats very carefully. Very, very carefully. You don't want to allow those customers to board the bus and then to have to tell them to get off the bus when the customer with the guaranteed normal ticket arrives. You really don't want to be in that position. So here's the issue, as I said, 8:10 a.m. you've been through the entire line, it's all been processed, everyone's on board except for those 2 unguaranteed ticket holders. The process is that you board the bus and depart prior to the grace period ending, and the reason is normal guaranteed tickets guarantee ticket those seats until 8 a.m. That's a departure point. Any time after then, that customer is now late and they're holding up the bus technically. So the idea is those unguaranteed ticket holders can board the bus at any time after 8 a.m. and you can depart as soon as the bus is full. You don't need to wait for those customers. And the reason that we're doing that is the balance of the priorities with the customers, and that is that the customers on the bus shouldn't have to wait for late arrivers. And I'm really big on this. Any 1 minute for one customer that's late, and people ask us all the time, can you wait 20 minutes? Can you wait 25 minutes? And they usually say, I'm only 5 minutes away, and they message us in the morning. And however many people on that bus, you times that by the amount of minutes they're going to be late, and that's how much of their time has been taken up because of those customers being late. So if it's 5 minutes, times that by 56 people or 55 people on the bus, and that's how much of their time is being lost. They could be spent looking at birds and all the rest of it. And also think about the driver. The driver doesn't want to keep doing late days, and of course yourself as well. So you've got a responsibility to look after the customers and also the normal ticket holders. Our promise is until 8 a.m. After then, the bus has officially departed. And we, as I said, we do have that grace period because we want to be polite. But once that bus is full, and you've got unguaranteed ticket holders there, you can put them on the bus and depart as soon as it's full after 8 a.m. It's an ethical issue, and that's the stance that we've come to. And I think it does the best thing for the people that are on time and are being responsible to the group. Any other issues we can deal with in terms of customer service. So effectively what you want to do is allow those unguaranteed ticket holders to board and then depart immediately. Okay, other notes, I can't really remember the details here. I'm getting quite a bit of wind as well, so you just might have to put up with that because I'm outside currently. If 2 people arrive, both with unguaranteed tickets, we talked about that, only 1 spare seats. Okay, so this is a couple, so they can both be refunded. That's an interesting point. We actually didn't talk about that. So if they're in a couple, which as I said, we try not to get people in groups. We try to get individuals or couples at maximum to buy an unguaranteed ticket. But if there's 1 spare seat, then you can turn both of them away. And you can also explain to them, because they definitely will ask this, will the other person get a refund? Because they couldn't attend. That's fine. We don't want to be, we're trying to solve problems here, both for the business and for customers in difficult situations, and also for the environment. So we're not trying to be capitalists here. That's fine. We don't need to take their money on this one or try to hold them to terms and conditions. You can turn them away and they can join us another time. And we may give them a 20% discount because they weren't able to attend. and give them, for a normal ticket. If there's no spare seats and there's an unguaranteed ticket holder and the group all wants to be refunded, only the unguaranteed ticket holder will be refunded. So if there's 4 people that have normal tickets and one with an unguaranteed ticket, they know that they won't be able to board, so we can't refund those 4 normal ticket holders. That's one thing we cannot do. So if you've got a group there and they're wondering if they can board or get refunded because their friend can't board, you say, nope, they knew that was an unguaranteed ticket, and you have to make that very clear, and they will try to argue with you and to say, yeah, I'm really sorry, but and we made it very clear on the page. We tell people not to buy those tickets unless they know that they can't board if there's not an empty seat, and it was their responsibility to tell their friends, and that's something you need to be firm about. We cannot refund those people with normal tickets. It's just not financially viable for the business. For unguaranteed ticket holders that cannot board, we can actually give them a 15% discount for the next tour with normal tickets. Okay, so it looks like I've made that a policy. Sometimes funny how you forget things that you've written. So let's go with that. We may actually give them a 15% discount. I'll say that you can say that to customers, that you may get a 15% discount for the next tour with normal tickets. And okay, so I've said that we're thinking about it. So just say that you may, and we try to help out customers, and we honestly are trying to help out customers when they're in difficult situations. Okay, for any other issues, refer them onto the New to Melbourne Facebook page. So if there's things that you can't answer, as usual, refer them onto us, and customer service will deal with them. The tour operations manager or the city manager will deal with them. The unguaranteed ticket holder has a friend with a normal ticket. Ask the friend to reserve them a seat in case they're able to board. So if you've got 4 people that board the bus and the bus is completely sold out and there's maybe only a few seats available, they all want to sit together, and they'll be angry if they can't. And we've actually had bad reviews in the past because people haven't been sitting together, which is just, to me, bizarre, because you can actually move them around throughout the day. But what I've noticed is that, just saying a couple of words to keep customers happy actually improves their day. They can really hold a grudge against you for the entire day. And some people are very friendly. It's like water off a duck's back having a problem. But other ones can really, for whatever reason, they can really hold a grudge and have a problem. So with these ones, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is when the normal ticket holders are boarding the bus, their friend won't be able to come with them because they need to wait until the bus is ready to go, until they can board, and those, it's until those customers, the normal ticket holders, won't arrive. So you say to them, just reserve a seat next to you so your friend can sit with you, when if they're able to board. So there was something that was rolling through my head just a moment ago about this 8 a.m. thing. Yeah, never mind. Okay, so I think I've explained everything quite well. It's definitely worthwhile really trying to understand this process, and also thinking about which of these situations are you going to have to deal with really quickly in terms of customer service, and anticipating that, and really memorizing, and not having to think back or refer to a manual or call the Tom in the morning, that you just know the answer to it. So you want to be able to respond to this stuff immediately. It's going to put you in a much less stressful situation. So if you need to review this video, then definitely do it. You need to make sure that you're able to deal, because this is a sensitive situation, okay? And people are expecting you to respond to it quite quickly. So I definitely suggest rereading through this video so you understand exactly what's going on. If there's any areas that you're a bit concerned with or that you didn't really understand. But this is a nice little, showing that we're really thinking about that customer. Telling them, your friend may not be able to board, but if they can, try to reserve a seat next to you so you can. I guess on the downside, the person that actually has a normal seat has to sit next to the friends of the person that couldn't board, which is not really ideal. But it's at least it's showing that you're being thoughtful about their friends so they're not separated throughout the day. That's also the reason that you say that groups please come to the front in the morning in the line. That's part of the welcome message, so that those people are able to board and aren't separated out into those little individual pockets or individual seats. So if there's a larger group, you want to get them to come to the front. You need to say that 3 or 4 times, by the way, because people really just don't seem to listen, and you need to say it so the people at the back can hear you as well. But that's it. I think it's, this is, by the way, this is a picture I took on my phone of our bus. This is the first time I saw it. Actually, I was walking back from the gym. Christian, and that's our driver Noel there. Christian's up here somewhere talking to customers, and I just thought maybe that's our bus, and I was right. So I didn't even know that was our bus. I hadn't seen it before then, but then I saw Christian standing up and talking on the way back home. So really cool little bus, by the way. Anyway, I think, as I said, there's some real benefits to this process. For direct benefit for you, there's more customers on the bus, which means more tips. Whether we take tipping out in the future, I'm not sure, but at the moment we currently do allow tour guides to accept tips from customers. But I think it benefits everyone: the customers, the environment, and New Melbourne. So it's that nice little triangle where everyone's really fulfilled. I guess the only one that we have is that ethical issue here, but as I said, we have come to a clear decision on that about customers, and we promise until 8 a.m. After that, the person is now officially late, and they are holding up the bus. So those unguaranteed ticket holders, this is probably what I should have said earlier, those unguaranteed ticket holders allow the bus to leave earlier, which is a really interesting way of looking at things and understanding what's going on there. So whenever we can, we try to keep that triangle of customers, the business, and the environment happy. It's always a very difficult balance to get, but this is a perfect example of something that does work. There are complications because customers can't always board, but we do give them a probability. We do explain things, so each ticket has a different probability that we make clear, and we try not to release tickets that have, we're not going to release tickets that have 30%. Not at this point. Maybe in the future we will. We're going to see how customers respond to that. Maybe it will be that, if we say to customers, there's a 20% chance you can board, they'll accept it and they'll understand it. And if they rock up the bus stop and they can't get a seat, that they understand that and they're accommodating. But we're just taking it one baby step at a time at the moment. But very proud of this process. It's something that works very well in New to Melbourne. Please make sure you understand it, because you are the face of the business, and as I said, there's potential for issues. If that customer does come along, they will be given priority seat on that bus, and you will have to turn someone away. But hopefully they've read through this stuff. Okay, we'll see you next time.